We have been muted. Can we mic check, mic check? Good thing we didn't go on a 15-minute rant before we got into it, huh? I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Just checking, sure. Yeah, we are live. Our mic is live, and it's a Saturday session. Let's get started. Like I was saying, inflation ran hot this week, and the markets were running even hotter until they weren't. And that is what we just saw to finish off the week. Bitcoin back down, stock market back down. Gold and silver actually finishing the week incredibly strong. Gold closing off the week at $2,150 and silver closing off the week above $25 per ounce. So a big week for inflation data and movements in the market. Massive liquidations taking place in the cryptocurrency space. And so I got a full breakdown for you guys here. We had a big week. I did a live session last night that got a little spicy. That was a little fun. I was drinking a little bit of wine. But on this Saturday afternoon, I got myself a fresh cup of coffee, got myself a body armor so we can stay hydrated. And we're going to have some fun here. Okay, we're going to talk about a full update, current events, financial markets, and how I am trying to get on the greatest, the right side of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. And it's up to you guys to make your own investments decisions. Please understand that I'm not here to give anybody financial advice, but I am here to share my opinions and the moves that I am making. Everything can be found on my website, ZachRector.com. I want to say thank you, and let's get started right away. For Bitcoin, as I said, sell off here 10% for Bitcoin. And we're back up here, 67,000. But yesterday we got that pullback, and that took us all the way down to 65,700. So over a 10% correction from that high that we achieved. As we were trying to warn about, watch out for these bull trap rallies leading into the CPI. This one extended after the CPI release that came out on Tuesday. Right on Wednesday, we double tap this level above 73,000, and then we fall off. So the rally extended a day past the CPI release, and the stock market rallied as well. And then Bitcoin did correct back down here, about a 10% drop. And so we're watching this one. I was talking with my Discord group this morning in our Discord weekly call every Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. If you're looking to get in that group, you sign up through Patreon to get access to Discord. And I was talking about how we've had these 20% pullbacks, about 4 or 5 of them at least, over the last year, where Bitcoin has rallied over 300%. It's been an incredible rally, way past my expectations for Bitcoin, and it's brought up the entire space. So that's been fantastic. But we have set ourselves up here time and time again where we get overhyped, we get over leveraged, we get a little bit ahead of ourselves, and then we get these massive 15, 20% pullbacks, which for crypto's not much, right? In crypto, a lot of us are kind of numb to 10, 20% movements. That doesn't even get us out of bed, right? But for the traditional markets, this is massive. And the traditional markets are who has been showing up and who has fueled this rally all the way to 73,000, new all-time highs pre-halving, which has been incredible to see for Bitcoin in the broader crypto market, which just came along for the party. You guys saw this last week. XRP pumping 30% in less than 24 hours to remind everyone that XRP can still wake up and make a move that'll shock the space, right? Not as much as the Mickey Mouse meme coins, which is apparently making everybody rich, and us XRP holders aren't making any money, even though we know that that's far from the truth, right? XRP holding very strong, and the fundamentals continue to get better. But the money that's being made in the space, I'm all here for it. Whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's the meme coins, eventually folks have to come to real value, real utility, and they got to settle down somewhere. So go make the money, go have some fun, and then ask yourself, where do the fundamentals actually fall in this digital asset space? To start off here, I'm going to highlight a couple data points on the current events and the financial markets. Starting off here, we have the Bank of Japan, which is expecting to end its negative interest rate policy next week. This will be the first rate hike in 17 years. That's right, folks. The first rate hike in 17 years for the Bank of Japan. Massive amount of inflation over there. And as a matter of fact, I just saw from our good friend Marcel, the Butcher of Wall Street on Twitter, he put out a tweet talking about how the Bank of Japan actually owns over 50% of their own treasury bills. Now they're doing the first rate hike in 17 years. Is this the credit event unfolding? I believe it is. I think this thing is just getting started. The ripple effects will be felt outside of Japan. And in fact, this might be one of the first dominoes to fall. We already have some smaller dominoes falling, but the Bank of Japan making this move the first time in 17 years. Are you ready? Okay, this is the credit event that we have been talking about. Debt, currency, and liquidity crisis. This is the debt crisis, and this is the credit event unfolding. Many are underestimating the economic circus that is about to play out in Japan from Gold Telegraph. Exactly. Right. And so this is getting started. Speaking on rates, I wanted to make this quick data point on real estate. I talked a little bit more in depth last night's live show about the biggest change in the last 100 years to real estate, with kind of the ending of the traditional 6% commission paid by the seller. Now the National Association of Realtors has settled up, and that will no longer be the case. I'm not going to get into it again here, but I got a separate real estate update that's on the way. But just to show you guys this data point, another one confirming the reset underway. This is typical this time of year for the spring selling season, but we've already seen the amount of listings growing. We've already seen the price cuts building. We've already seen rents softening. We've seen all sorts of half month, 1 month, couple months free rent, enticing folks to, make a move. Now we're seeing that Joe Biden wants to give money to folks that are selling and folks that are buying, trying to stimulate the real estate economy. And we haven't even seen the worst of it yet. But according to Realtor.com, February housing data, the spring housing market could shape up to provide home shoppers with a more plentiful supply of less expensive homes than last year, as the number of newly listed homes has significantly increased. And like I said, we see this every spring. But this is a market that has primarily survived and stayed afloat because of a lack of supply. In the markets that are still up, in the markets that are still holding out, the primary factor is a lack of supply. But what we just saw over the last week was mortgage rates ticked back up above 7%. They had temporarily dropped below 7%, but they already moved back up. And we covered this week how the 10-year bond has started to move back up. So we're starting to see mortgage rates climb back up. And so these are all factors with the supply and with mortgage rates going up that will ultimately lead to prices coming down in areas that have sufficient supply. Markets that are now starting to see a lot of supply growing, some markets even beating pre-pandemic supply. And so this is why I call it a real estate reset. You can't call it a real estate crash, generally speaking, across the board, because like I said, some markets still up, some markets still resilient. Primarily, main factor, lack of supply. So we're going to continue to watch this one, but how'd that program work out for the folks in the real estate industry that were giving the advice to home buyers to date the rate and marry the home? Here we go. These are the same folks that were listening to the talking head pundits on CNBC predicting 6 rate cuts last year. How many have we gotten? 0. They were predicting 7 rate cuts. How many have we gotten so far? 0. How have the expectations now dropped off? Now down to about 3 or 4 rate cuts is what the market's pricing in, after they delusionally thought that we were going to get 7 rate cuts this year and 6 last year. How is that program working out? And so this is why I want folks to understand the real estate asset class, because many folks caught themselves in a trap over the last couple of years, taking on a payment, taking on adjustable rate loans that are now coming due for renewal. That, now they've been trapped and they can't refinance. And especially if the prices don't continue going up, then they're not going to have any equity to tap anyways. Even if rates do fall back down, if you don't have equity, you can't, there's nothing to refinance there anyways. So we have to change our mindset as we're now investing in an era of overhyped, overleveraged, and massive inflation. So we look at the real inflation, we look at data points like this, and this one's from Trueflation, the US inflation aggregated. At least 23.98% of your wealth has been invisibly seized by the government since January of 2020. So when you compound this, when you got aggregate inflation, it's not 3%. You can throw 3% out the window. And we throw 3% CPI out the window because it excludes food and energy. We laugh at the talking head pundits that now want to use super core, which strips out food, energy, shelter, used cars, and everything else that matters. And everything that matters, the inflation's been 10 to 20% plus. Look at the cost of insurance. Look at the cost of all these other aspects that aren't included in these headline numbers. True inflation is well above 10 to 20%. And as they're showing you, when you compound it, this is why, although some stuff is starting to cool off, we're not feeling any room, right? We are still feeling the pressure of inflation. And this is the worst case scenario. What we've temporarily been going through and what could extend is a period of stagflation where demand is falling off. Excess savings isn't there. Folks can no longer spend. They've tapped out the credit cards. They've racked up the buy now, pay later. And now buy now, pay later is finally reporting to the credit agencies. So you racked up the buy now, pay later on your Chipotle burritos and whatever else you were using buy now, pay later for. And now the payments are coming due. And now the interest on that is now over 20%, 25% on these credit cards. And with the stagflation, you still have inflationary pressures driving prices up while demand falls off. This is the worst case scenario for a middle class and poor that are trying to survive, that are trying to buy assets, right? Because although demand's falling off and we should be getting deflation where prices come down, we're not, because we still have factors that are leading to inflation, right? And prices still going up, stagflation, right? So we're going to continue to watch this one, and we see so many of these data points across the board, and this is why we've remained cautious. We've been urging warning. We haven't put up, zipped up the moon suit just quite yet, because we have another data point right here that many people are completely oblivious to, completely blind, as most folks want to just look at the charts, want to just look at the TA on the crypto without realizing there's a lot other data points that we should probably include in our investment thesis when we're making business and investment decisions on a daily basis. By and large here, we've seen folks make a decision to move to money market funds. And you've seen this from Warren the Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, moving to $167 billion cash. Now we've crossed a shocking $6 trillion mark that we have not seen ever. In the last time that we saw run-ups like this have only been 3 times since 1995. When would it be? Well, you already know. Dot-com bubble, financial crisis, and 2020. And we've now far surpassed that level. This is folks getting liquid and getting ready, as I've been talking about, right? If you can't justify the valuation of your stock or your crypto, it's time to consider where the fair market value is actually at and which direction it's going to be heading. Okay? Now, continuing on. This is what happens when folks get overhyped and overleveraged. Crypto carnage. Over 800 million wiped out in market plunge. We were warning about this one. We've been warning about it all this last week. I've accepted that I was wrong. Bitcoin extended out way past to new all-time highs, 69,000, 70,000. But you heard me at the beginning of this week saying, guys, watch for the bull trap rally into CPI release, then look for the sell-off. Bull trap rally extended one day out past CPI release, and then we get a $800 million liquidation event. Okay, so these are programmed time and time again. We're not doing anything special. I'm not putting 50 different indicators on my chart. Okay, and so once again, crypto carnage with over 800 million being wiped out. What's so interesting about this space right now, though, we're starting to see DEX activity pick up, where folks are starting to use these decentralized exchanges to trade instead of these centralized exchanges that are their own market makers that are trading against you, that are betting against you, that are liquidating you because they got your trades and they're betting against you. And we're seeing this in Solana. Now, I don't really care that much for Solana, but I'll give credit where credit's due. They just recorded a highest daily DEX volume in history, 3.5 billion. This is a record for Solana, okay? And this is pretty incredible. When you look at XRP's overall market trading, the volume on a daily basis has been about 5 billion. When we got up that pump over 70 cents, the volume went up over about 7 billion, I believe. But when you look at Solana right here, I mean, you got to respect it. I'll throw some respect on Solana. The VCs that have been pumping up this sucker and that continually dump on the retail traders, they've been doing really well. And now the retail traders, what are they playing with on Solana? Meme coins. How far can memes take you? They can take you pretty dang far. For better or for worse, it is what it is. God bless the memes. And so the kids are playing musical chairs with the meme coins on Solana. They just did 3.5 billion worth of volume in 24 hours. That's awesome. Now you got to go find real value, don't you? Now you got to go find a store of value, don't you? Okay. But let's respect it. And this is what is coming. The reason why I'm sharing this with you as we roll into the crypto portion of this update, if you guys haven't already, please make sure you like this video and that you shared it out far and wide. The reason why I wanted to share this one with you is because I titled this Ripple Circle and Trillions Coming to AMMs. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to get trillions coming to the XRPL AMM. Is it possible? You bet. You bet. Is the ledger perfectly primed for trillions to come to it? You bet. Absolutely. But let's be clear. We're talking about markets and we're talking about the tool that the AMM is on these decentralized exchanges and how we're going to see some of these markets moving over to these decentralized exchange AMMs, automated market makers. For those of you who don't know, the XRP Ledger is finally getting an AMM coming up here on March 22nd, 2024 in just 1 week. Let's take a sip. Cheers to that. I'm still drinking coffee, but maybe it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Cheers to an AMM and utility coming to the XRP Ledger. What do you guys say? So let me show you what I'm talking about, but I wanted to give you guys the example of memes can take you to billions of dollars being traded on your DEX. So, the XRP Ledger, if it had a stronger meme community, if folks were more willing to give up their reserve currency of the new financial system, XRP, to trade for a meme, then we would see more volume like we're seeing right now on Solana. But people don't want to give up and I'm guilty. I'm one of those crazy people that think that XRP is a reserve currency of the new financial system that doesn't want to trade it for a Mickey Mouse meme coin. Guilty. Okay, when I see some real opportunity, when I see some tokens with some real utility and value, I will start to trade some of my XRP maybe for that. I will want to get exposure, but it's going to take a lot to convince our community, which I call, the more respectable, the more mature, the adults in the room, as we've been saying, right? Has been the XRP community. Where what's the downfall to that? We don't have billions of dollars of DEX volume of memes trading on our DEX, which if we did, it would lead to a higher price, just like we're seeing right now on Solana. So do we want memes on the XRP Ledger? Yeah. I sure. It's not my thing, but that's the beauty of an open, permissionless, open source ledger, right? Anybody can put whatever they want. And there's already plenty of crap on the XRP Ledger. There's already folks that have put all sorts of crap on this ledger in the form of tokens or issued assets, in the form of NFTs as well. There's going to be a whole lot more crap coming online for the AMM as well, right? That's going to happen. That is inevitable. And it's only going to get you so far. That's the point that I want to make. So there's a difference. Memes might get you to billions of dollars, right? Is memes going to get you to trillions of dollars? That might be a stretch, right? Memes taking us to trillions of dollars of volume on DEXs and AMMs, probably not going to happen, right? But we can look at markets like the FX market, the foreign currency exchange market, where we do see $7 trillion of daily volume. This is the most liquid market in the world. And don't take it from me, folks. We're not talking about moving 3.5 billion of Mickey Mouse money on Solana. We're talking about the role of AMMs in the multi-trillion-dollar FX market and how the XRP Ledger and XRP can benefit from stablecoins and on-chain FX from Panos. Huge shout out to Panos. Always putting out some good work. Currencies are the tectonic plates of the financial system rooted at the base of every trade and transaction. The FX market is the largest and most liquid financial market in the world, with daily trading volumes of 7 trillion plus. We're talking massive, folks. 7 trillion plus. Let's continue on here. Daily currency trading volumes, you can see it right here. This is in 2022. This is only going to grow from here. Here soon we'll be surpassing 8 trillion in volume. Incredible. In TradeFi, the correspondent banking model of FX settlements makes transactions harder and more expensive for users. You got way more friction. Settlement risk is a big concern, and based on the BIS's triennial survey in 2022, around 1/3 of deliverable FX turnover, around 2.2 trillion, is at risk daily. How about that? You know, I've always said the $1 trillion problems are what turn me on. Here we go. We just found another $1 trillion problem on a daily basis. Not a market that's $1 trillion on a yearly basis. No. This is 2.2 trillion risk daily. Another example is traders. An FX trader has to fund their account with a broker, fees. Next, the broker has to submit the trade to a bank, fees. Finally, the bank will fill the trade on the open market with more fees. In the crypto ecosystem, stablecoins have emerged as a critical component, providing a bridge between the volatile cryptocurrency markets and the stability of traditional fiat currencies. Onchain FX doesn't play any meaningful role in crypto yet, despite it being a perfect and straightforward use case for DeFi. But this is gradually changing. The advantages of DeFi via automated market makers over TradeFi for foreign exchange transactions are numerous, including faster, cheaper, and more efficient value exchange and transfer. You got the features right here and where we're going, right? Traditional versus on-chain, okay? And this is going from T2 and T5, it's all moving to T1. How do you do that? Well, you got to have on-chain. You got to move to on-chain, right? Where you get near instant settlement in seconds, not just in a couple days or 5 days. No, instant, 3 to 5 seconds, maybe a little bit longer, right? But it all has to go to T+1. Settlement is the new deal. You have settlement risk, credit exposure and liquidity risk, transparency and trade reporting, benchmark transparency, liquidity fragmentation, okay? Liquidity providers. So this is where we get to become liquidity providers using the decentralized protocol with no bank, with no brokerage, no fees, only the fees that we're going to be earning by providing our liquidity. That's what we're talking about right here. Atomic payment versus PvP transactions enabled through blockchains can eliminate the settlement risk in which one leg of a transaction is settled without the other. A $2.2 trillion risk daily. Somebody can do the maths on how big of a problem that is on a yearly basis. AMMs utilize passive asset owners as liquidity providers. Oh, somebody should fact check Panos. You can't call this passive income, Panos. Come on, brother. Twitter fact checkers are going to have to rip you apart for this one. You might have to go to Twitter jail. How dare you call it passive income? AMMs utilize passive asset owners as liquidity providers to deepen market depth, reduce the risk of flash crashes, and facilitate always-on liquidity versus market closed on weekends and bank holidays. 24/7, 365, no matter what's happening, as long as all systems are online, we are moving value. With the upcoming AMM on the XRPL lies a huge opportunity. Onchain FX could be utilized by payment networks like Ripple's financial institutions, neobanks, and fintechs, corporations, businesses, and individuals. See, guys, this is where we participate in the same liquidity pools as these banks, potentially, right? And even if the banks have their siloed private ledgers, right, they still could tap into the mainnet XRPL AMMs if they just create a bridge. That's where the cross-chain bridge comes in, XLS38D. Where you'd be able to tap in private or just separate ledgers, other blockchains. Think of Flare, think of Zahao, think of EVM sidechain, or think of a private version of the XRP ledger created for central banks, where you'd be able to press that big red button that David Schwartz talks about, and you'd have interoperability with mainnet XRPL AMM. That's the disadvantage of having the private networks is, you can't tap into the public AMM, but they would be able to create their own private AMMs if they so pleased, right? But we've talked about the advantages, and I even talked about how standard custody, last week we talked about how even they have noted the advantage that being able to tap into the public decentralized exchanges offers. Anyone can trade currencies and become a liquidity provider. Onchain FX can also benefit small to medium enterprises in many ways. Small and medium enterprises can often face significant challenges and costs when it comes to managing their foreign exchange risk, whether it is paying suppliers or employees in a different currency area or processing invoicing of goods and services. The risk is always big. Traditional methods of hedging, such as using multi or single dealer platforms, can be expensive and may not be accessible to SMEs. The near instant settlement and 24/7 availability of Onchain FX can provide SMEs with significant cost savings and risk reductions. In addition, AMMs tend to favor smaller transactions, making them well suited for the needs of SMEs. The XRPL has been a frontrunner in providing fast and cost-effective transactions and introduced the first DEX in 2012. Many people in the XRP community don't even know that we were the first DEX. It's incredible. It's one of the best features, if not the best feature of the XRP Ledger, and most people don't even know that we have it. Truly incredible. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, please drop your comments, questions down below, and make sure that you have shared this video out far and wide. I appreciate all of you guys. Okay. We've had the first DEX since 2012, allowing users to trade directly on the ledger without the need for intermediaries. The current DEX operates using a central limit order book where buy and sell orders are matched. The introduction of an automated market maker on the XRPL that is about to launch on March 22nd is set to enhance the Onchain FX capabilities of the ledger. It's just making our DEX more efficient. The presence of more stablecoins on the XRPL would mean users have access to a broader spectrum of currencies for trading and payment purposes. This diversity is crucial for XRPL to cater to a global audience as it allows users to trade and make payments in their preferred or local stablecoins. XRPL's pathfinding features is a powerful tool that can use XRP as a bridge currency to facilitate on-chain FX trades and payments. Remember, we have that pathfinding feature that finds you and sources you the best liquidity on the DEX. Okay, it's going to make sure that you get the best deal. When a user wants to convert one stablecoin to another, the pathfinding algorithm can find the most efficient route for the transaction, potentially involving XRP as an intermediary. This process can minimize slippage and provide users with the best possible rates. For example, if a user wants to trade a USD stablecoin for a Euro stablecoin, the pathfinding algorithm could use XRP USD and XRP Euro liquidity pools to complete the transaction. I'm going to repeat that part. This is an example. If a user wants to trade a USD stablecoin for a Euro stablecoin, the pathfinding algorithm could use XRP USD and XRP Euro liquidity pools to complete the transaction. So basically, the pathfinding algorithm is going to use both liquidity pools to trade you, right, from your USD stablecoin to XRP, and that XRP to that Euro stablecoin, right? It's going to tap both pools. This not only streamlines the trading process, but also opens up opportunities for arbitrage and other trading strategies. The future of the FX market is on-chain, where innovations like stablecoins and networks such as the XRPL are leading the charge towards a more interconnected and frictionless world. How about that one, folks? I wanted to read this response to a question, somebody asking about Ripple using the escrow to put into these liquidity pools. And Panos responds right here. He says, I think there is a possibility, but only if they put equal value of other assets and not single-sided XRP, which is selling 50% of it and will damage the price. Also, they can't add more than 1 billion per month, which is the maximum that can be unlocked from the escrow. So he's saying that basically if Ripple was going to start dumping the escrow completely every 1 billion per month, that's the maximum amount that they'd be able to take from the escrow directly to the AMMs. But what I'm watching for is going to be Ripple partnering up potentially with their institutional partners that are using on-demand liquidity for those partners to start to issue, right? I'm looking for who is Ripple going to partner with to issue these other currencies and these other stable coins on the XRP Ledger. Now, obviously, as I put in the title, we can talk about Circle. And if you don't believe that Ripple's had conversations with Circle, clearly you're not watching how Ripple operates. I think that we can definitely infer Ripple's been on stage speaking next to Jeremy Allaire. They're at many of these same conferences, and it only makes sense as Ripple's met with all of the largest banks, central banks, and every institution in the world that matters, that they probably have said hello to Circle, and I would assume that there's some sort of conversation going on, or at least a plan to introduce USDC onto the XRP Ledger. Now, we have Vet here who put out this tweet talking about how he believes you may see the most recent partnership coming from Acceler's integration of the XRPL. Okay, Acceler. I don't know how you pronounce this company. I'm assuming that's Acceler. But we saw a most recent announcement where they talked about how they're going to be integrating the XRPL. So this is one issuer to issue USDC. But that's not going to stop Circle from also issuing USDC. We already have USDC issued on the ledger by GateHub. and probably a couple others as well. And so the main question is going to be, who are you going to trust to be the issuer, right, of these assets, right? This is where you get liability. When you get counterparty risk, is you're relying on this issuer to back up their claim on USDC, on Tether, on whatever currency they put on the XRP ledger. And so I've talked about how Circle could launch USDC on the XRPL. I've also talked about how SBI, right, a partnership out of Japan, they could issue the Japanese yen on the XRPL. I could definitely see that one coming, right? You get partners like Bitso, out of Latin America that could issue Mexican peso, that could issue the Brazilian currency. We have partnerships in Argentina. You could see, all these partnerships that we have with on-demand liquidity providers in over 40 different countries, over 70 different payout markets. I mean, you're talking about 70 plus, countries where Ripple has partners where they could potentially issue these different currencies on the XRPL. And then combined Ripple with their partners, they would be able to fund these liquidity pools with, a significantly, lighting a fire in there and getting something cooking, right? Where this is what I'm watching for with this AMM is Ripple and their partners. Where is Ripple going to add to the AMM? If they do, maybe they won't. It appears that they're already planning on moving some of their on-demand liquidity flows to the DEX, which is very interesting to note, is that up until now, Ripple's on-demand liquidity flows had been going through centralized exchanges, right? They had partnered up with Uphold last year. We, reported that after we did the interview with the CEO of Uphold, Simon McLaughlin, how they were going to start to be basically a node on Ripple's on-demand liquidity network, right? And of course, Ripple now calls the whole program as just Ripple Payments, and they're not distinguishing how much on-demand liquidity flows they really have in their quarterly reports anymore, because this is where they've been under attack from the SEC, right? But Ripple has 500 plus partners that could issue whatever assets they want. And so we're talking right now about FX, and we're talking about currencies and stablecoins, but you're also talking about institutional partners that are going to issue real world assets on chain. Take, for example, HSBC, which is offering tokenized gold to their institutional clients, and they're partnering up with Medico for the custodian side of that offering. And HSBC said that they are going to be sticking with Medico, even though Ripple acquired Medico, and Medico is now basically essentially Ripple. Medico is Ripple, and HSBC is going to maintain that partnership. So this is the type of real world assets that could be put on chain, similar to Franklin Templeton, a $1 trillion asset manager that chose the Stellar Network for launching tokenized mutual funds. So it's not only going to be the FX market with currencies and stablecoins, right? We're also looking at real world assets being tokenized, put onto here. And if they wanted to, they could utilize the AMM to build out that liquidity between the issued asset and XRP. But this was an interesting note from Vet. He says stablecoin liquidity for the XRP Ledger AMM will likely come from the XSeller's integration of the XRPL in May 2024. This may include USDC, and Circle doesn't have to be involved necessarily. He says, I see two options here. Circle has a cross-chain transfer protocol to move USDC around different partnered blockchains such as Solana, Stellar, Algorand, etc. And Exceller is an important part of Circle's CCTP, that's their cross-chain transfer protocol, for cross-chain messaging. In case Circle wants to issue USDC on the XRPL, apart from probably a huge business development effort deal, it makes sense to make the first XRPL work with their CCTP by integrating with the XRPL with Exceller. In case Circle isn't officially taking the XRPL into its partner network, the Exceller integration can be used to bridge existing USDC on other chains to the XRP Ledger. Either way, it can bring stablecoin liquidity to the XRP Ledger by issuing IOU USDC on the main chain that is backed one-to-one by real USDC on another Circle-supported chain, such as Ethereum, in a public and transparent way. The XRP community could here demonstrate that there is real demand for USDC on the XRP Ledger, and Circle could jump in later, like a proof of concept or more like a proof of demand, win-win. And so I think that it's inevitable that, I can't see why Circle wouldn't want to issue USDC on the XRP Ledger, other than there's one thing that I think could very well be holding this up, which is the fact that Circle wants to go public in the United States of America. And although, does it indirectly, bring them into kind of questioning if they issue on the XRPL, even though the lawsuit is between the SEC and Ripple? Well, the lawsuit also includes XRP and indirectly the XRP Ledger. And so maybe Circle just wants to stay into the good graces of the SEC, and they're looking to go IPO here in the next year, right? And so maybe that's one of the considerations that they've made, is that they don't think it's worth the risk until after they go public. Now, what's interesting is I believe that this would add significant value to Circle's proposition, right? They make money by issuing USDC on these chains and providing USDC to these market makers. And so this is how they make money, right? Is they would be able to come onto the XRPL and they'd be able to issue USDC and add it to these liquidity pools and make their money, make their yield that way. This is how Circle makes their money. And so to me, it only makes sense. And it's another opportunity for Circle, a company that I can't imagine wants to pass this opportunity up forever. I think eventually you are going to see them issue USDC. But in the meantime, Vet makes a good point that we could see Acceler issue USDC on there. We already have GateHub issued on there. But we just need more DEX activity, and it's going to create that flywheel effect. But the main reason, remember, that we haven't had DEX activity on the XRPL is because we haven't had additional utility. Now, I wanted to share this because this is very important. Huge shout out to Jay from Spend the Bits. He actually responds to this conversation, and he says that here, Spend the Bits integrated within Circle ecosystem last year for USDC payment, including their CCTP feature. So a huge shout out to Jay. I did have Jay on my show. If you go to my interviews playlist, you can go watch the interview that I did with Jay from Spend the Bits. God bless him. And so this is, one guy over here with his company Spend the Bits, and they've already, right, integrated with the CCTP feature and issuing USDC for payment on the XRP Ledger. Love to see it. Continuing on, I wanted to share this one with you guys. I hadn't noticed this, but this is Tristan Leavitt from Empower US. He's the president of Empower. And they're the ones that have been doing all these Freedom of Information Act requests in regards to the SEC. And they've really honed in lately on the, they are requesting, they just issued a new request for emails and other communications from around May 2017 and leading up to the Hinman speech. And then also from December 2020 when the lawsuit was filed. And so they're still applying pressure. Absolutely love to see that. But I hadn't even noticed that back here last month, they actually shared and tweeted out the XRP Unleashed documentary. This is a whole thread that they dropped right here. The SEC has disclosed to Empower that the SEC Office of Office Inspector General is in the final stages of an investigation into the cryptocurrency-related financial conflicts of interest Empower referred to the OIG in May of 2022. So they've been doing a great job with these Freedom of Information Act requests, and they've also referred conflicts of interest. They've also, been sending in the documents to the Office Inspector General at the SEC last year. And they're still, right? For example, when the Division of Corporate Finance Director Will Hinman came to the SEC from the law firm Simpson Thacher in 2017, he continued to receive millions in financial compensation. Thanks to Empower's FOIA work, we know that the SEC Ethics Office told him that because he had a continued financial interest in the firm's profitability while in government, he was required to recuse himself from all matters that would impact the firm. Simpson Thacher is a member of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. Its cryptocurrency Ether is a competitor with others like Bitcoin and Ripple Labs XRP, which we got to clarify that, right? Many people, we got to clear this. This is not Ripple Labs XRP. XRP is completely decentralized. Ripple does own some XRP, but it is not. They do not control XRP Ledger. So we got to clarify that. But so Hinman clearly shouldn't have been helping guide the SEC's enforcement decisions on cryptocurrencies. Yet in June 14th, we got the Hinman speech. So, you guys know this story, right? But I hadn't seen this. This just came across my feed the other day, just yesterday. And I retweeted this out and I said, Let's blow this thing wide open, right? Let's make this thing go viral, because we have Empower President Tristan Leavitt picking up on this and tweeting. Now, it appears the new documentary XRP Unleashed from Fruition Films focuses on these issues extensively. John Deaton uses Hinman's speech as an example of regulatory capture 101. Now, you guys have probably already seen this, but let's just play this. It's been a little over a month now. This was released on February 2nd, 2024, and this is the second trailer for the documentary. Let's listen in right here.
So I think you'll dig this as something that we made in the office on ETHgate. Gave a speech and they cashed it.
He cashed it.
And everybody recognizes that gentleman right there, Bill Hinman.
Bill Hinman came to the stand in 2018 and gave his famous speech where he declared that Ethereum wasn't a security. The SEC tried to allege that all sales of XRP were an unregistered securities offering.
December 21st, Brad Garlinghouse came out and basically informed the world that they were soon going to be sued by the SEC.
The SEC is preparing to sue that crypto startup for selling unlicensed securities.
Can you explain your view of whether Ethereum is a security or not, but then why you believe that Ripple is a security?
We don't get involved in these types of public forums talking about any one project.
We believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions.
The SEC is trying to capture the digital asset space. They went after Ripple and specifically XRP is because it was the biggest threat to the incumbent banking and financial system.
You know, the United States government's probably the biggest bully in the world. I read the complaint and it was terrible news. People are going to lose money and people had their life savings in XRP.
All right, welcome to Regulatory Capture 101, also known as ETHgate.
Huge shout out to Chris and Maya from Fruition Productions and their entire team. I feel honored and privileged to be included, but more importantly, I cannot wait to watch John Deaton's part. I can't wait to see Steven Narioff's part, and I can't wait to see the finished product, which, guys, we're making this message go viral. Okay. So it's not just the XRP Unleashed documentary, but you're seeing Empower US, one of the leading, institutions out here checking the balance of power here in the United States. And they're ones that get it, that this is bigger than XRP. This is bigger than crypto. This is about regulatory capture of our capital markets, not just regulatory capture of the digital asset space, regulatory capture of our capital markets. And the SEC fighting to expand their jurisdiction out past where it does lie. In our opinion, many of these ICO offerings were unregistered securities, just like Ethereum did. And the fact that Ripple never did an ICO, XRP never is a security, now being confirmed as a matter of law, right? So we have this with us. And remember, what is ETHgate about? I've put this together. There's three simple parts. First off, it's the damages done to the XRP community and Ripple because of the lawsuit. So the first part is the damages from the XRP lawsuit. The second part is the profit that they made from the ETH free pass. And think of Joseph Lubin and the gang that everybody invested in Ethereum early on, right? They was able to profit from this decision, William Hinman going to the stand while he was still receiving millions of dollars, right? And he was told by the SEC to not do this. He needed to recuse himself from actually regulating digital assets, right? But he didn't. He didn't. God, no. And as Jimmy Valley says right there, right? They cashed it. And as we just heard last week, we did the interview with Steven Narioff, and Steven confirmed that we're talking about trillions, a word that starts with a T, right? Trillions of dollars worth of profit and, just a token factory that was created with Ethereum that was able to, flourish after that ETH free pass. So the first part is XRP lawsuit, damages done to the XRP community. Second part is ETH free pass and the profit that they made. And the third part is the broader corruption and regulatory capture of our capital markets here in the United States. This is why I'm so glad that we are going to be able to make this message go viral, because it's not about just sharing the truth about XRP. It's about saving our country. See, our capital markets have been hijacked and we need to get them back under control. We are fine for having rules of the road, for having a little bit of regulation, but we are now strangling American entrepreneurs and capitalists and innovation in our free markets in red tape. And it's not just that, the Operation Choke Point, it's also, that's never enough for them. It's not enough to have control. They also want to profit on the back end as well. And that's what they did. He gave that free speech, that free pass, and they cashed it. Right? So they caused massive damages to our community. They profited. We're talking hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars. The ETH token factory was created. And then finally, this is bigger than XRP. This is bigger than crypto. This is regulatory capture of our capital markets, right? And this is why we're not going to sit down and shut up and just take it like some people are suggesting we should do. The fact that JP Morgan gets to pay their slap on the wrist fines and go about their business, I'm not going to let up. And I know many people out here aren't going to let up. And God bless and power, right? That's not letting up. And they're doing things, right? We have multiple avenues of attack here on this legal battlefield. We got John Deaton, one of the generals leading the charge. We got Fred Rispoli. We got Jeremy Hogan. We got a whole list of leaders out here. Jimmy Valley, who've been leading the charge. The generals at the front. I stand behind them in the trenches, and I ain't leaving these trenches. And we're going to keep on sending shots downrange until we achieve a victory, which is a level playing field. It's not XRP to 589. That's not victory. That might be part of it. Maybe we'll have a little bit of fun and XRP will do something crazy like that. The potential is massive. You guys can let me know in the comments down below how big you think the potential is for XRP. But the victory that we're trying to achieve is a level playing field, is an opportunity for our children, is an opportunity for us to, create life, liberty, and pursue a little bit of happiness, God willing, in this great country. We don't want a handout. Thank you very much, Biden. I don't need money when I go to buy a house. I don't need money when I go to sell a house. I don't need money from you, period. Okay? I don't need anything from you. I just want you to get out of our way so we can actually build the value that humanity needs, which is utilizing distributed ledger technology, as we talked about in today's show. You have an FX market that's over $7 trillion on a daily basis, and the risk that's taken on is trillions of dollars daily. These are $1 trillion problems. Now, they'd solve the problem with their solution, which doesn't work well, is inefficient, that still has a lot of friction that they get to profit off of, versus just allowing a level playing field and let the best ledgers win. Let the best ledgers and the best builders win. But that's not how they operate, is it? And so we have regulatory capture from the SEC, but it's part of a bigger problem of a bureaucracy beast creature in DC, right? They call it DC swamp, DC creature. I call it the bureaucracy beast, and it's bigger than the SEC. It's other three-letter agencies as well. And like I said, everybody's fine for having rules of the road, right? Everybody's fine to stop at a stoplight, stop at a stop sign, follow the speed limit, relatively speaking, right? We don't, if you cause harm to somebody else, that's where you've broken the law. And what we see here is it's not enough to strangle this new digital asset space. They had to cash it in too. Just like all the other fraud IPOs that they're allowing to go through, and they're allowing pensions and retirement accounts to invest in that have been exposed here, all the way from Alibaba being approved from Jay Clayton, all the way to all of these other real fraud IPOs that have been allowed to happen here in the United States of America, right? And in the meantime, we're going to wait for Congress to give us clarity. And until then, we fight it out in the courts. And you're seeing even CFTC chairman going in front of Congress, right? Talking about how, Prometheum's jumping the gun here a little bit, or maybe they did get the blessing from the SEC. All right, Aaron Kaplan, the founder, he's saying that, they have the go-ahead to offer crypto asset securities. And the first one that they offer is Ethereum. So what is that supposed to mean, right? You got the first approval to be the first crypto asset securities platform, and the first offering is Ethereum. Wow. Okay. Did you get that go ahead from the SEC? And CFTC Chair Biden was like sitting here like, well, we've already declared that Ether's a security, or not a security, a commodity, and you guys have as well. Your buddy boy Bill Hinman went to the stand and told the whole world that Ethereum was not a security and that Bitcoin and Ether were commodities. So you guys already gave up jurisdiction over that, but now through a back-end deal for Prometheum, crypto asset securities approval, first one in the country, Ethereum's the first offering. What's going on here? Right? And so we're going to be battling this out in the courts. And the good news is that we got courts like yesterday, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, striking down the SEC's climate disclosure rules. Okay, so the SEC is meeting a massive amount of resistance. And as I've been saying, it's just that level playing field. We just want to see fairness and equality across our capital markets, across these equities markets that we're trying to participate in. Gary Gensler, if he had his way, we'd have to have $10 million net worth to be able to invest in private equity, right? With that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap up this session. I have the link for Link2 down below if you're accredited and you want to get access to private equity. We have Link2 down below. If you're new to their platform, you can get $500 towards your first investment. So take advantage of that one. And then we have the rest of our community resources are available at my website, zachrector.com. We just had a nice Discord weekly call this morning. Every single Saturday, we have a weekly call, which is an opportunity for folks to come on, have a live chat with me, ask me questions, comments. And we also have our community that's bringing me deals on a daily basis. I'm not here to give anybody financial advice, but I am going, I am willing to share my opinion on stocks, crypto, businesses, real estate, and anything else. And so please feel free to take advantage of that, guys. I'm just so excited. We've gotten ourselves into a position here in 2024 to now be able to maximize our output to try to reach out as many people as possible and have the largest impact as we enter this next bull run. And many folks are going to fall for a lot of scams, a lot of hype, a lot of narratives. We try to cut through all that BS and we focus on the fundamentals. Okay. It's fine to make your Mickey Mouse meme momentum trades. I don't mind that. That's great. That's fantastic. But then understanding that the fundamentals are what's going to drive this space to $10-20 trillion market cap plus. How big of a pie is XRP going to get? Well, that's the fun part of this journey is we get to find out. So I appreciate you guys for coming on this journey with me. I have a couple more videos that I'm going to be dropping here later today and tomorrow. So make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates. And the next live show will be Tuesday, every Tuesday, Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, going live on YouTube. And then as well as these Saturday lives at 3:30 p.m. Eastern as well. Appreciate all the support, guys. It really means the world to me. And I will see you in the next one. God bless all of you. And I want to give a huge shout out. I did see that we got a super chat. Hopefully I didn't miss that one. Huge shout out to Philip. Philip, I see you, brother. Thank you for the 5 spot. Thank you, Zach. Little bit of American funny money for appreciation. God bless all of you guys. Really means the world to me. We'll see you in the next one. Take care out there.